You started Tape UK in 2019 with no clients, no team, and no funding. What was the spark that made you start? Do you feel that gave you an advantage? Did it steal something from your childhood? What's the most uncomfortable truth you have discovered about leadership?
I think I never had a childhood in terms of the playfulness. I had that responsibility from early on, always realizing that life is going to be tough. But I think the progression I had allowed me an opportunity to work with more people. February 15th, 2019, I quit my job. And then I literally had no plan in terms of I was just like, okay, I have to get clients because I've got to pay for my house, I've got to pay for shopping, etc. And also I was leaving such a well-paid job. I think my purpose is always, since I was young, was to support people. I've always been like that, even in the family. Like, I've come from the single mum, but it was like responsibility was always passed on to me. And I think that's just because people could trust me. They knew I was going to do it.
You said no to millions in investment twice. Why did you risk that?
Because I love what I do, and I think money can't buy me, because that's my mentality, because I've come from no money.
Which was harder, saying no to millions in funding or saying no to your own self-doubt? Welcome to Niche with Diksha. Today I have another amazing guest whose name is Imran Savas, an entrepreneur who grew up learning about bills at the age of 5 and went on to build Tape UK with no clients, with no investor, and with no safety net. What makes him different isn't just the businesses he built, but the way he built it. Choosing compassion over profit during COVID time, saying no to millions of investment because it didn't align with his purpose, and speaking openly about inclusion, Palestine, and humanity, even if the silence would have been easier. So welcome to Niche with Diksha, Imran.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for accepting my invitation.
It's a pleasure. I wouldn't have missed it for the world.
So yeah, getting into it. So when you think back to being at the age of 5, understanding bills and money because of the circumstances, do you feel that gave you an advantage, or did it steal something from your childhood?
I think I never had a childhood in terms of the playfulness. I think I had that responsibility from early on, because my mother never worked, so she stayed at home. She did the drop-offs and the pickups for me, and she ran the house, which she was amazing at doing. But it gave me maturity at such a young age that I was always in control. I could control my emotions. I knew in terms of when I could have the opportunity to ask my mum for stuff, whether it be the latest FIFA game or the latest toy that I wanted, because I knew about the circumstances. I knew when we had money and when we didn't, and it gave me that that maturity very early on, and that resilience. So even in school, when I used to look at my peers, I used to see how mature I was in comparison to them, because I knew about life events. Like, they were very much going through childhood and having fun with it. But with me, I felt like from early on, I knew about life events in terms of wars in other countries, racism, prejudice, and always realizing that life is going to be tough. So I never had that sugarcoat, which was, I think, a benefit for me today. But when you look back on it in terms of the upbringing, there was so much love in the house and in the family. Like, I wouldn't change it for the world, but I'd probably say you wouldn't want that for your children. You want them to have that opportunity for more. But circumstances are completely different from my mother's time to our times now. So now it's a lot more advanced, and people are a lot more further, especially people of color. So I feel that, yeah, it was a lovely childhood in terms of having love and affection around me, but playfulness and childlike activities, I don't think necessarily were there. Even today, people laugh because I can't ride a bike. But my mum just gave me a football, and that's something that I still do today. So that was my joy, really.
You started Tape UK in 2019 with no clients, no team, and no funding. What was the spark that made you start Tape UK?
I worked as an accountant for a very long time and I was very successful in terms of career progression. So when I look in comparison to my friends and my family members, they found it hard to get that promotion or that opportunity. And I think with me, what benefited myself was I've always been very outspoken and very, if something's wrong, I will say it. I just have no filter with that. And that still continues today, as you know. Um, but I think the progression I had allowed me an opportunity to work with more people. So I saw the, dare I say, the struggles they went through, especially in business. So you come across small founders that want to start a small business, whether it be a restaurant, a cafe, photography, videography, whatever. And they found that they wanted to do their craft and follow their dreams. But unfortunately, all the admin came into it and they didn't realize that. And that's what set them back. So they got into a position where it became very overwhelming and there was a lot to do. So I saw that when I was working as an accountant, going door to door and going to different businesses and liaising with the founders and owners, etc. And I figured, wouldn't it be easy to have a business that could just literally do it all? So you go to tape and you have access to a team that's been there and done it, and they're excellent in their craft. So in comparison, people always say we're like Fiverr on steroids because Fiverr is hit and miss. You're going to get freelancers,
Yeah.
etc. But at tape, the idea was to get the best of the best, put them in a team working under one roof and all pull in the same direction. And it was always that idea of supporting and helping small businesses. So when I was working as head of accounts, I said to my two assistants at the time, I said, wouldn't it be easier to just liaise with one supplier? Because we were paying invoices for our own marketing, our own website, and so on. And they just said, wouldn't it be great in it? Because life would be easier if things were easier. So I remember that afternoon really well because I did some research. I was sitting on my desk and I was going through Google, just having a look, seeing what's going on in the world. And there was nothing of it. And it was very simple, a simple concept. And it was just strange that no one had created it. So it took me about 6 to 9 months to figure it all out. I was like, okay, so you want to start this business. You've got no business experience apart from working with other businesses. So how are you going to do this? So I got my head around it. And then on February 15th, 2019, I quit my job. And then I literally had no plan in terms of literally, I was just like, okay, I have to get clients because I've got to pay for my house, I've got to pay for shopping, etc. And also I was leaving such a well-paid job that it was just like when I went to go hand in my resignation with my director, she was saying to me like, you can't help small businesses. She was like, you're crazy, because she figured that from her perspective, which the mindset still continued with some business owners, was there wasn't a lot of money in supporting small businesses. They want to target the medium to large businesses, and with that they'll generate good money for their companies. But with that, I always went against the grain in terms of, I figured helping someone is more important than the invoice being paid. And you just see the progression we've had over the past 6 years, and you see so many people grow. It's just unbelievable. It's worth more than money, honestly. And now they have that support mechanism.
So that aligned with your purpose.
I think my purpose is always, since I was young, was to support people. I've always been like that, even in the family. Like, I've come from the single mum, and we have, I'd say, 20 to 30 great and grandchildren combined with the main family members. So we've got a big family, but it was like responsibility was always passed on to me. And I think that's just because people could trust me. They knew I was going to do it. And that continued throughout working career, playing sport, friends, anything really. People just come to me with a problem. Even in recent times, I've had politicians contact me asking me for advice,
Really?
and famous people. And it's just remarkable because I'm just a normal guy. But for some reason, people have just put their trust in me.
Of course, because of the work you have did.
Maybe, but I don't know. I can't answer that. But I'm someone who can't say no. So if someone is in my life and they need help, I'm always going to help them. It's just the way I am, because we have to help one another. I think
Yeah,
that's what we're
absolutely.
missing in humanity right now, where people are very selfish in their own ways. And I think society has made them like that. But I do believe we can change that, and that starts with us.
When I talk about, Tape UK, it has accounting, it has marketing and IT services. The field of interest is very different from one another. How did you come up with that idea?
Again, just working with small business owners, because if you look at the journey, they would you'd have to look at the steps. So we could use an example of a coffee shop. The first net start, they know they want to serve coffee, they know it's going to be amazing, but they have to go through the whole process. So the first process probably would be finding a name, and then with that they start to build the brand with the logo, etc. So we can do that, and also branding we do, so we can literally just create the business with our team. And then from that they go into the accounting stage, where whether it be sole trade or limited, and that's where our vast experience comes in. And then a website, again, to be found. So, and then we've also included social media in that. So all the elements that the small business needs, they just come to us and pick and choose what they need, and then we provide it for them. So it started with one client, but now it's nationwide, and it's just growing and growing and growing. But the positive thing is we're working with so many amazing small businesses where I get invited to their weddings. When they have a baby, they invite me, and the relationship there is unbelievable, because with what my team found amazing, because they're all older than me now, which is
Oh,
crazy.
okay.
I'm the youngest in the company, because they worked in the city, they worked with some big businesses, and yeah, they've got vast experience. But they found it amazing that I was willing to have every client have an opportunity to just contact us for advice, and for free, rather than charging them and billing them. When they're part of Tape, that's it, they're part of the community. And then with that, we help them grow. So whether it be personal advice or just advice on how to approach something in business, they can always just come to me or my team and we'll answer.
That's really nice, actually. What you have done, what you're doing, it's really nice. You're doing mostly for the small businesses, which people tend to ignore, but you have made that mission your purpose. It's really nice. So you said no to millions in investment twice. Why did you risk that?
Because I love what I do, and I think money can't buy me. And that's what I think people that know me really well know, that if it doesn't feel right, I won't do it. I will literally say no to anything, whether it be doing an interview, doing a podcast, appearing in this, going to this event. I literally just follow my gut, and it'll always be I just do what I feel is right. So even if people presented billions to me and it wasn't right, I wouldn't accept it, because that's my mentality, because I've come from no money. And even today, I don't follow money. So organically we've built the business, and people have always tried to come on board, but I think they're also interested in the fact that you've got this guy who just is always saying no because he's happy. And that's the main thing, because I am happy. I'm happy with the work we do. I'm happy with the people we work with. I'm happy that I'm in control. And it gives me a sense of purpose and makes me really happy in terms of being able to help people and to see the progression. Like, you see someone who used to be a waiter open their own restaurant, start a family, buy a house, and you see all that and you're like, wow, like you've sort of been part of that journey. And it's worth more than anything. And I feel like if you brought in major corporations, what would happen? You'd lose all that. You'd lose the soul of the business. Like, even Nike started with real good purpose and it had fantastic marketing with its storytelling. But ultimately, Nike has become a corporation where people are still looking for Nike in terms of, are you speaking out on important subjects? And of course, they're not going to, because it's going to affect their money. But with me, I'm happy for it to affect the money if I know it's good. People say, well, you're cutting off your nose to spite your face. But it's what I believe, because ultimately it's that's the legacy you build, and you have to stick to your morals and you have to stick to your values and beliefs. Otherwise, you just become another sheep. And it's always important to be the black sheep, to follow your path and to make sure that, yes, people always question you and your beliefs, but if you feel it's right and it's what you believe, then so be it.
In 2020, during pandemic, you told businesses that they didn't have to pay you until they reopen. What drove that decision? What did it cost you personally and professionally?
I think had we not done that, we probably wouldn't be in business today, nor would they be in business. So we had the first year that was, of course, building blocks. And then I did the TED talk in the February. I remember TED just contacted me 2 weeks before and asked me to do the TED talk. And I didn't know what it was, of course. I just turned up, did it and went. And you even put it on TED.com, which is mad. And then the March came with the pandemic. And then I remember every business owner was literally panicking, which I can imagine, but I'm always very calm, because I always look for a solution. I always think to myself, like, in life, there's always going to be problems, but how do we solve them? So I looked at it and thought to myself straight away, within minutes, I just sent an email to them all saying, do not pay us. Because we were going to come out the pandemic anyway. Of course we were. That's just what was going to happen. We didn't know when, but ultimately, I felt like the government in the March, April time, before Rishi Sunak started pulling out the furloughs, people didn't know what was going to happen. But the positive is, when we the staff were paid because we had the cash flow, so the staff were looked after. Of course, I wasn't paid, but that's okay. It's fine. But when the clients went through that period of not paying us, I saw them elevate. I saw them start to think outside the box and look for ways to generate money. And that's where they started doing a lot of cookery. Example, I use restaurants. They were doing some cookery on their Instagram and Facebook accounts, trying to show people, like, this is how they make the product and etc. And then he started going down the route of delivery. So there was a lot of innovation, which was amazing. And it was so proud to see that. And I felt like they needed that reassurance that, hey, you don't have to pay us. Let's just get through it together, because that's what it comes down to. And then when we come out of it in the next few months, we'll be together again. But I did think that was a period that really elevated us, because then it went into the Black Lives Matter, if you remember, in the summer. And that again was another catalyst for people wanting to come to us, because they saw the brown founder, they saw we were always big on diversity, and they just were like, well, I hate this company for whatever reason, I'm going to come to tape. And then, of course, we saw a lot of the freelancers hear about us that were doing the side project, and they didn't want to go back to work when work was being called back in. So you had these CEOs sitting down, like, going, go back to work. And they were just like, I don't like you. You weren't supportive of me. Now I'm going to start my own thing. And then we saw an influx of the freelancers come in there. And yeah, it was a special time. Yeah.
Okay, so do you think it was the referral that you got from your first client during?
Yeah, like literally, it's if I had to base it on like how we've grown the business, it is from just doing a great job and being referred. And it's sensational. Like we work with a lot of families who have just said, work with this company, and they're spread out sometimes around the country, and it's just like wildfire. And I think it is the old metrics of like, do a great job and people talk about you and they'll refer you. And I think that's very important. And even when I advise people that are starting out their businesses, I always say to do that, like, just do a fantastic job, over deliver, even with the small tweaks here and there, just give them a little bit extra where they feel great. And that's what I think is very important with growing a business. Rather than just looking at the client as a number and an invoice, you have to think to yourself, like, okay, if I do a great job for this person, they're going to tell their friends and family, their community, and then with that, it starts to expand. And again, just give that little bit extra, and it always benefits.
My husband, he's a business owner as well, and he always says to me, like, when you're talking with client, always under always under promise and then over deliver. So does it really work in business?
I think we've got a reputation of delivering, and I think we're a safe bet. I mean, some businesses, you don't know what you're going to get, unfortunately. But I think from the first communication to the whole process, we're very honest. So, example, if we were building a website and it took longer than anticipated, we would say to the client every day where we're up to, just so they're on that journey. Because some service providers, as you know, they just go really quiet and you're just like, oh my God, what's happening? Even with the accounting side, we'd go through the whole process with them just to make them understand how we got to this conclusion, how we're saving them taxes. Because I think you're a customer as well.
Yeah.
And I think people forget that when they get into business, they start to get into the mindset of like, no, I'm a business owner, but also you are a customer.
Yeah.
You know what great service is. There's a reason why you'd go to a certain restaurant, you'd go to a certain bar, you'd go to a certain environment because they make you feel good. And I think that's what's important with the whole process. But one of the little small things I've implemented was I've said to my team, they have to reply within 24 hours. They have to always communicate to the client because it can build anxiety if you're just waiting, especially with large money projects, even if it's like a small project to us, but to them, it is still their money. So you have to make them feel like they're getting value. And again, just over deliver, because sometimes the small things in terms of just maybe adding a little bit there, a little sprinkle, it makes them feel amazing. They're like, oh, you're not charging me for this. And you're like, no, it took us like 5 minutes. Why would we charge you for it? So yeah, I think that's what it's very important. I think in this modern day and age, I know it's very, how do I say, it's not as personable as it used to be 10, 20 years ago, but you can still bring that element in. And I think it just comes from good communication.
I think communication is the key in business. Yeah. Because we have many clients in our business. We have real estate business as well. And we have like essay company. We have like Uber business as well. So we have businesses, and communication is always the key part with the clients, with the customers, always.
Yeah, and I think honesty, because
Honesty.
I think sometimes when you lie to protect the client, sometimes it's not good. It always comes out. And I think just to be honest, and it shows that you have integrity. So that's what I feed across to all business owners as well, to follow that metric where if you follow this path, you'll be fine, because people want to work with people they trust. There's a reason why people stay with their accountants for 10, 20 years. There's a reason why they stay with their solicitor and lawyer for 10, 20 years, because it's trust. And with projects such as websites or branding, etc., you have to trust that company that understands you and your business. And I think what we've done at Tape UK in terms of, again, what I've implemented is to understand the personal person, that their personality, what they want to achieve in their lives, and then you build the business around it rather than the other way around. Because if you build the business around the person, it will affect their personal life too much. So you have to separate it. So you have to say, for instance, John, what do you want to achieve with your business? What's the personal goal? Is it to build a house? Is it to buy a house? Is it to rent somewhere? Is it to buy a car? Is it to, I don't know, buy a PlayStation 5? Help me understand what we want to get to. What's the target? And then we start to build around it with the business. How do we get there? What's the roadmap?
It's making sense to me now. Yeah. Yeah. So moving on, you wore Palestinian kafia in public space knowing it might trigger controversy. Was there a moment you thought if I stay silent, life would be easier?
I don't know how to stay silent. That's the problem. And I think it's got me a lot of respect from people, especially my team. But also we have lost money. We've lost money. Like I was explaining in previous talks, normally year upon year, we grow 100 to 200%, but last year we grew by 10%. So we saw a difference in the growth, but we can't prove it. We can't prove it at all. Now, it's not to say that we ruled out a lot of businesses in terms of who were supportive of what's going on. I think it may be that people just didn't want to get involved. So then when they see a business or a business owner speaking out on topics like this, they felt uncomfortable, potentially, but we can't confirm that. It's all hypotheticals. But I'm someone that will always fight for injustice. If I feel it's wrong, and I feel even a 5-year-old knows right from wrong. So if something's wrong in the world and we can use our platform to speak on the matter, then we should. And for me, when I went to the awards last year wearing the keffiyeh, as I always say to people, I'm not Palestinian, but I know and I believe they're being killed because of the color of their skin and their beliefs. So for me, I feel like I had to do something because I can't stop it, but I can use what tools I have, whether it be my voice, my social media, educating people in public when I'm with clients or whatever, in terms of if people ask me the question, I'll give them my answer and my beliefs and what I feel is right or wrong. But I think that's where, again, going back to communication is very important. So when I went to the awards last year, yes, I won Entrepreneur of the Year, but I wasn't in a good, happy period because I just felt guilty. Because I remember I was sitting there and I saw people in lavish dresses and suits, etc., even myself, but they were just getting on with life. They were just all happy, having fun. And I was looking at it all and I thought to myself, like, what are we doing as humans when kids are being killed? And I felt guilty because I'm like, I've gone to this event where I have a chance of winning, but I'm not happy being there. And that's why when I went on to the stage and collected the award, everyone was like, you just beaten Ben Francis of Gymshark. This is like crazy. But for me, I just was numb. So I went on the stage and of course spoke about the Palestine issue. And it was amazing, the response. Like everyone in the room applauded and was so thankful that I did that, because everyone else that went on who won awards previous were just talking about how amazing they were and thanking the world for it all. But for me, it was like I had to release that. And they said the FA were there, Amazon, the King's Trust, everyone you could imagine was there, like big corporations and that. But I didn't care. And when I stepped off, it was nice to see even celebrities come up to me and just thank me for using my platform. But yeah, it's just something that I've always been like that, where if I feel it's wrong, I'll say it's wrong. And I don't care who it offends, because I don't really care for their opinions, because I'm happy, I'm comfortable in my own skin, I know right from wrong. And yeah, it doesn't really affect me. Even if we lose money and my team are worried sometimes, they're like, but we're not growing to the levels that we want to. Does it not affect you? But I think there is that sense of loyalty, because they know what I'm like. They know that he means really well. And that's why people try and push me into politics. But you'd have to do some dirty stuff to get into politics. And unfortunately with myself, as you can understand, I couldn't be bought. And I think that's where people will always have an issue with me. Speaking out and not being very headstrong. Like if I believe this is the right thing to do, morally, I'll follow it through. And you can't sway me. Like if people say to me, well, there's a war going on or this is happening, that, but if I'm seeing children being killed, I can't relax on that and say, well, it justifies it. Because as you know, this world it's pure, it's like water. But unfortunately we've diluted it with so much muck. Now we try and justify wars. We try and justify evil sometimes. We're like, you have to do this. No, you don't have to do this. You can fix things. Like you look at people on the streets, yes, they may have addiction, but also you have to justify why they have those addictions. What's got them to that position? And also, sometimes it's just to numb the circumstances. And you see that even with business owners, like some of them are addicted to drugs, whether it be illegal or not illegal. Some of them are addicted to alcohol just to get them through because they're trying to numb their pain. But I feel like we can purify things, but we need to get people with positive outlooks and good voices out there. And that's why even my business owners that I work with, I push them to do well, because there's a lot of good people. And I always say to them, even if you're a barber and you're making 20 to 30K a year, you can still use your platform. When people come and sit in your chair, you show them what good is.
Speaking about something wrong is like using your voice for speaking about something wrong is absolutely right every time, but people worry about the image too much.
I think it's image, but also what other people think.
What other people think. Yeah, that's the main thing.
But why do you care? You should only care about what the people who you care about, what they think. So with that, I mean, I think we're too fixated with the pound sign, unfortunately, in this world, where we lose track of what the legacy is. Because ultimately, you're going to be 6 foot under one day. That's just a guarantee. So then you have to think to yourself, with this life you have, what is the legacy? How do you want to be remembered? Do you want to be remembered for having a successful career? Or do you want to be remembered for doing good? And you see in well, you're not going to see those people, but you'll see when someone dies, whether or not they're a good person or not. You just feel it. And I think that's what we need to work towards. And that's what I work towards. I work towards my death. Because I'm like, if I can help a human being, then I've done my job. Regardless if I meet them or not. Sometimes I speak to so many people digitally and just ask them, they ask me for advice, or they just want some encouragement, and I'll give them it. And I don't ask for anything in return, because I just feel like this is what we need right now. We need to have that leadership and that trust in people again, because we're losing it, especially with politics and even business owners. There's especially the elite, where we just feel like they do not care about humans. It's not necessarily about class level. I think in general, it's just humans. So I think we need to go back to that. And it starts with us. As I always say to people, you need to get your house in order. If your house isn't in order, you can't fix the world. So you must make sure that you're comfortable in your own skin. You're proud of who you are. And you've got love around you. Like you said, you have your husband, etc. You've got love around you. You've got support. And I think it's just appreciating what you have. And the rest of it is just a bonus. Because if you go back 2,000 years ago, all they wanted was shelter, food and water.
Yeah.
We have coffee, water, we have shelter, we have everything. Really, we have everything. The only thing that we can't predict is our health. But that's always going to decline, because we always will have to die. And then the new breed of people will come into play. So I think we just need to fix ourselves and not worry too much about what other people think. Follow your purpose and be happy, because you have to force yourself to be happy.
Absolutely. Do you think entrepreneurs have a right response to actively counter division with inclusion? Or is it that asking too much of business leader?
I think it just depends on what message you want to get across. So if you're comfortable building a business and you're happy, again, going back to the key point I always say to business owners is you have to be happy in your work. So you can earn millions and millions of pounds, and unfortunately, you're just not happy. You have this, how do I say, like this image of what happiness is. It's having the big house, the swimming pool, the Lamborghini and all that.
Yeah.
But you might not be happy.
Yeah.
And you might not have the freedom. So I just feel with business owners that can use their platform where they can articulate and use it for a sense of good, not necessarily for finances, but just to show people that there is good there, then they should, because they have a duty of care for other humans, because you have to see it. And like I've come from a brown background, and we're normally pushed into becoming an engineer, a doctor, accountant, solicitor, and the rest of it. But we've seen that before. But you don't necessarily see them doing a lot of creative work. And I think that'll be important, especially in this next phase, because there's a lot of creative and talented people that need that push, but they need to see it. So then it's up to someone to take that responsibility. That's why with me, I've sort of grown into it, because I'm like, if people don't see me speaking and going out to schools and colleges and universities and events speaking, then they won't know I exist. And they'll just fall into the same trap of the next phase of people that go into those line of jobs and might not be happy. But I think it's important to take on that responsibility. All of us, I think we have to step up. We have to show people that we are articulate, we are intelligent, we do have a voice. Because especially people of color, unfortunately, there is still a stigma that people think we're dumb.
Yeah.
They think we're smelly, we're dumb, we just stay at home and eat curry and the rest of it. But we have to show that we are braver now. We are braver, and we just have to fix ourselves, and then we go into the public ready to show the world that we're ready to take on the fight and inspire the next generation.
The cost of living crisis is forcing business to shut. What's the most human story you have seen up close through Tape UK and that stayed with you?
In terms of seeing the cost of affect their business and they're
Yes.
still in business.
Yes.
Do you know what? It sounds really confident, but in the past 6 years, none of our clients have gone out of business.
Wow.
So I've not seen it because I believe that money doesn't affect the business owner. It's the passion. So you start with zero. So for instance, if you go into business with the mindset of making money from the get-go, you're not passionate about that project. So as soon as you come across the first hurdle or the first bad experience, it puts a damper on it and they want to quit. But the people that love what they do, they'll ride the storm. And that's why I always say to people, you have to get into business doing what you love. If you do something that you feel like is just going to make me quick money, unfortunately, as soon as you run into trouble or you just start to have a challenge, it starts to decline your love for it. And that's why you see business owners that are passionate about their business, they'll start to innovate. They start to look for new ideas and they start to make the business more attractive to them again and start building. Like with me, I've been doing tape for 6 years now, and I feel like every day's a new day. I can, every day's a new challenge, but also because I'm in control, I can do what I want. And it's the same with all business owners. Like you need to get into that mindset of like, people are buying your soul because you've created this business. But if you don't put your soul into it, unfortunately, what's going to happen? It just becomes another business. So it won't have that love and affection that people want to buy into. And you feel that with restaurants or coffee shops that are just soulless. And it's because the founder's not there. The founder hasn't gone into that project with the mindset of, I want to like serve the best coffee and make people happy. They've gone into it thinking, I'm going to make quick money and I'm going to get out in a year or two.
Yeah.
And as soon as I hear people have an exit plan, they'll take the exit plan as soon as it comes. And with that, they're still looking for fulfillment. And then you see some businesses when they do 10, 20 years, they're making enough money for them to live, but they're happy. They're rich. They're rich. More for the person that continues chasing. But what are you chasing for? There has to be something that you're working towards.
Just thinking in the background of my business. Yeah, what you're saying is really nice. Yeah, you have to have passion for your business. Otherwise,
100%.
yeah, it's just going to be another, you're just working for nothing.
Do you know, when you walk into a business, you feel it. You can see it in the staff. You can see it in the owner, whether or not this is a passion project. And through the passion, it will start to make money because people know that there's a lot of love and care in it. But when it filters down, you can see it. You can see it in the staff as soon as you walk in, whether or not a staff member is happy or not, because it comes from the owner. Like with me, I'll make sure on the Monday I'll speak to my team and I make them happy because we're starting the week. It's Monday. Come on. This is the best day.
Yeah.
We get to see each other again. We get to talk. We're ready to attack the week. And we get to work with some amazing people. Because the positive thing is with my outspokenness and also my business's outspokenness, say, we rule out bad clients. That's why I always say to people, I will not become a billionaire. It's not going to happen because it's not open for everyone. It's open for people that do share some values like me. And that's a positive because we work with so many amazing people. And sometimes when I'm having a day where, I don't know, it's a challenge, but just to receive an email or, I don't know, just some happiness from a client saying like, thank you for doing this.
It just makes up your day.
Oh, it's worth more than money.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I say to my
It's
clients,
the best feeling, yeah.
if I didn't have overheads, I'd do it all for free. Honestly, I do it all for free. But I have to pay the staff.
Yeah.
I have to cover all my costs.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. And as we grow, unfortunately, we have to cover more costs. But at the same time, it's like, it's it's amazing because I think, again, going back to the idea of a business, you have an opportunity as a founder to make your own business in terms of looking at Apple, looking at Nike, looking at the huge businesses. And then you say to yourself, well, I wish they did this, but you can do it.
Yeah.
You can do it.
Because you are in control.
You're in control.
Yeah.
You have to have the bottle, the confidence to say, I'm going to do it. And people love it.
Yeah. Freedom of speech has become one of the most complex issues of our time. Where do you believe free speech ends and responsibility begins?
I don't believe in freedom of speech. I think it's a stupid ideology because if there was freedom of speech, people would just be racist to one another. They'll swear at people. They'll talk about people's mothers, talk about their partners. There's no such thing. There has to be a limit. So when people talk about and campaign for freedom of speech, I don't understand. I think they're something's wrong with them. They need to go A&E or something because it's just not right. Because you're saying basically, I want freedom of speech so I can go and call this people this word or this word. Why? That's just so much hate. So you must have some mental health issues that you have to go and look into because it's just not right. So when people always have this debate with me about freedom of speech, there has to be a limit because why do you want to get into a position where you could upset someone? And yeah, everyone has their ideologies of freedom of speech. But again, I just think you have to have a bit of a responsibility of what you say to one human being to another.
You have to have filter, yeah.
You have to. Otherwise, it's no holds barred. And what's going to happen? You have anarchy. It's going to be a mess. And that's why I don't understand. But also, I do understand because there's a lot of evil in the world. And if you make everyone evil, it's easier to how do I say, to bring in the devil. So unfortunately, no, I don't believe in freedom of speech. Even though I'm someone who's very outspoken, but I'm respectful with it. So, yeah.
Would you rather Tape UK double its revenue tomorrow or double its social impact?
I think revenue and then use it for social impact. Yeah, I think as I've grown older, I do appreciate that we have to build the business to a next level and a next level and a next level in order to have such a global impact. But what holds it back is me. So I'll never take outside investment. I'll never bring in partners that aren't right. I'm still the sole owner. And yeah, I don't know. I just wouldn't want to contaminate something that's pure. And this is what I really love about my business because we're working with pure people and the staff are pure, and they've been molded into great people. As I say to people, when you come to tape, you'll leave a better person, whether it be a client or a staff member. I'll make sure that you develop skills that you probably weren't taught in other businesses, because unfortunately they teach you to go down this path and not express yourself too much, but just to follow A to B. But with me, I say you have to show your greatness, because we all have different talents. No one can do, my staff can't do what I can do, and I can't do what they can do, even with the clients. But it's just expressing that talent and then pushing it, because I think you can easily manage people too much, but you have to just say to them, like with me, it's just about, I know they can do the job, but it's just showing them values, like why we do this. Like I remember when one of my senior members of staff first started, and he came from the city, and he was very much like boom, 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 boom. But he was very short with the clients. Like it was like, hi, please confirm, thanks. And I was like, by adding in, I hope you're well today, or how are you, all of a sudden you've just made that very personable. And they see the character and the person there. But if it's very short, especially black and white in an email, people just look at it and be like, they'll read it in terms of how they want to read it. So if they're having a bad day, they'll read it in a bad way. If they're positive, they'll read it in a nice way. So, and also they don't know the person's voice at the time. So they'll probably read it in a way that it could sound like the devil. It could be really bad.
Yeah.
So I managed to incorporate that into him, and now everyone loves him, even though he's fantastic at his job. But it was just, I said to him, we need to show you, there's a reason why I hired you. There's a reason why you're working here, and that's because of you, because you're a good person. And we just need to show the world that you're a good person, because unfortunately, some organizations will take that away from you. They'll take away your personality, they'll drain you, and it will just affect your work, where you just will become a robot. And we want to see the real person.
Yep. Which was harder, saying no to millions in funding or saying no to your own self-doubt?
Which was easier? Money. Yeah, money doesn't interest me at all. So, because you see so much evil that comes from it. You see people going to other countries just for resources and money. You see all the torture. You see family break because of money. You see friendships break because of money. And I think, unfortunately, that's become the devil in the world. People chasing that too much and are relentless. It's like tunnel vision. That's all they can see. They just see the money, but they're not looking at everything else. And everything else is the people you're affecting on the way. So I think it's caused so much bad that I think if you just push your life, say example, we have 60 to 70 years on this earth, and you're just pursuing that, it's just a sad life.
Yeah, it's very sad life.
It's very sad life.
Yeah.
And you make memories from time you spend with people more than the money going into your account. And that's what I always say to people, you need to go back to that mentality of humanity. Talk to your neighbor, talk to smile at people on the street, make a joke, because you don't know what people are going through.
Yeah.
Like, not an offensive one,
Yeah.
but make them happy, because the time they have with you, you should make them happy. Because I think that's a duty of care for one another. We have to show love to one another in ways that are possible, because you don't know, it could change someone, and it could make them see the good in humans again. So yeah, money would never, I would never sell my soul for money. And you see it now with so many politicians, celebrities, etc., that are just scared to lose money. And I don't understand it. I really don't understand it at all. And that's because, opinion again, is because they love it. They love the lifestyle, but they don't love their fellow human beings. Yeah, they love it. They love the fact that they're in a position of power. But the reality is that you leave it all. You go to the grave with nothing. And I think that's where the only thing you take with you is your good deeds and your bad deeds. But I think if you take as a lot good, you're doing well. And I think that's where people are getting lost with it all. They're losing the morality.
What's the most uncomfortable truth you have discovered about leadership?
There's not a lot of good leadership. Like even today, no one inspires me. Seriously, like when I was growing up, when you look up as a child, you see people in positions of power and you think to yourself that they earned it. And then when you look on it and you think to yourself, like, if you had an opportunity to help humanity, why aren't you doing it? Why are you compromised? So I really don't understand it. And I think that we're seeing such a decline in leaders because, again, I think society's become very selfish. And I think even leaders are selfish now, where they don't care. And the people of power are in an even more darker state because they have an opportunity to fix things. Like if I saw kids dying and they said to me like, Imran, you could stop this now, but with a phone call, what's the first thing I'd do?
Yeah.
You just ring up and say, how can we stop this? You wouldn't continue allowing people to die all around the world, not focus just on Palestine, but all around the world. You're looking and you think to yourself, like, leaders have caused so much pain to people, from going back to the slave trade to seeing like you've had to have people go through huge movements to get that acceptance for who they are.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And it's just remarkable. Like I just think to myself, like, what has happened? Like what has happened to people to get to this mindset where you just do not care about people? You've had to go through some trauma. You've had to gone through some dark encounters to get there. And I'd never understood it, ever. And I wouldn't want to in some ways. It's the same with all the corruption and bad you see in the world. You just think to yourself, like, how do you get into that mindset? And it's difficult. And that's what I'd say to, if I was interviewing leaders, I'd say the same thing to them. Like, how do you get to that position? And if they say, well, it's not that easy, it is. You have to make it easy. You have to start to tidy it all up and think, okay, how can I use my time and energy and my life to do good? And if it means dying, then so be it. Because at least you die for the right cause.
Okay. So if Tape UK disappeared tomorrow, what would you want people to remember about you?
About me or the business?
About you.
That I tried my best. And I think that's all you can do. And I say that to children as well. I say, all you can do is try your best. Because then you have no regrets. It's like playing sport. If you know you did your best, you tried so hard that ultimately it didn't work out, you didn't win. At least you can say, look, I used everything I had.
Yeah, my energy, my power.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And for me, that is doing that for humanity, doing it for your parents, your siblings, your cousins, your grandparents, your friends, people in your life. And then you just, get to a position where you know you did all you could for them. And if something happens to them or you, there's no regrets. It ends nicely.
Yeah.
And that's how I think you should treat every single human being.
What's one unpopular opinion you hold about entrepreneurship that most people would disagree with?
Doing something for money. Because I think you see a lot of people that want to get rich. I see many people, especially on my timeline, that they're just like saying they want to become a millionaire. They want this car, they want this bag and so on. But I never understand it, because is that the purpose of life, to have these material things? Is this what's going to make you happy? It makes no sense to me, because it's such a short dopamine hit. Because even me, like, from my experience of doing stuff now, it just becomes the norm. like you haven't got that excitement anymore. So example being is, say you finally achieve the goal of hitting £1 million, example, and you get there, then what?
Then what?
Is your life fixed?
Yeah.
If you have your demons, you're still gonna have your demons. You might not have it for a few days, but it'll reappear. So I think it's just the most important thing is to fix yourself, and that means fulfillment, doing what you enjoy every single day. It could be going to buy a coffee, it could be going to the gym, exercising. It's just going back to the stuff that makes you happy. Like I say the problem with the world today is they beat out the child in you. They say you have to grow up really quick. Like with me, I still play football, and I play football with friends and also new people every week. But it's going back to that childhood where you're meeting new people, you're forgetting about your problems,
Yeah.
but you're exercising as
Yeah,
well.
and just
But
enjoying the moment.
just
Yeah.
enjoying the moment, and even meeting new people. Like today is the first time we met. We're getting to know each other, and it's nice because you're learning about someone new who's good. And you want good people in your life, and you want to keep them in your life. But I think if you go into entrepreneurship with just the mentality of hitting the bingo, basically hitting a jackpot, unfortunately, it'll just be short term and it won't make you happy. And that's why when I speak to new clients every week, I always ask them the same thing, like, why are you doing this? And 9 out of 10 times they will give me the correct answer. They want to provide a service or provide a product to help. And that's what we're trying to do, rather than chasing something that's not going to benefit anyone apart from ourselves, but for the short term. Because then what do? Then you want the next milestone where it may be 10 million. But what are you going to do with that money? It's true, like people have this ideology of having all this money, and then they say, well, I'm going to pass it on to my kids. Okay, but you've gone. So your legacy is just giving them £10 million, example. What's this legacy? They might be a horrible person. They might not be compassionate. They might not understand life. But your legacy is giving them sort code and account number, and here's the money. That's nothing. And I think that's where you see the legacy of so many great people that have come and gone, and it's not been built on how much they had. It's the purpose and what they did and how they benefited the world rather than what they made.
For someone watching right now, broke, doubting themselves, unsure where to start, what's the first step they can take to build a life with purpose?
First, fix your foundations. So foundations are you happy? Because you have to fix your soul first. You have to make sure that you're happy. Secondly, do you have somewhere to live? Are you secure? Whether it be your parents or your house sharing, whatever. Doesn't matter, as long as you have somewhere to live and you appreciate it. And then, do you have food and water? So very basic.
Very basic.
Very basic. That's the foundations. And then you build from there. So the idea of being broke for some people is different. I know people that are working 9 to 5s and say they're broke, but they just haven't got appreciation for what they have because they're still looking. So you have to figure out like what you want. Because I do believe that the human brain is so unique that it depends what you put into it. I believe we all have the same brain, the same body, etc., like organs, but it's again putting positivity into it. If you have negativity in it and you're in an environment that's toxic, you'll become toxic. If you're working at a company 9 to 5, but you're being paid well, you'll just find an excuse because you're not happy. You'd look at it and be like, well, I'm being paid 40, 50K, but I'm not happy. And the reason is because the two people sitting beside me aren't happy. And it starts to go into your ears and into your soul. And you start to question it. I've seen it so many times where the next person's looking for a job, and next minute, the person who's happy is looking for a new job. And you're like, why? It's just influence because you're in that environment. So if people,
It's the energy.
it's the energy, it's what you're putting into your body, because people just think it's just comes down to food and water. No, you have to put good in your head as well, through your ears. If you're listening to too much bad, you're going to think the world's just horrible and everything's wrong with it. But if you look at the positives, you'll be like, okay, life's good. And I think with entrepreneurship as well, like if they're broke and they want to get into it, again, it's just finding the purpose. What do they enjoy doing? Do they enjoy cooking? If they enjoy cooking, start cooking. Maybe go and work in a restaurant. If you're not happy in the restaurant, start to think about your own business. And then the next excuse comes, oh, I haven't got any like certification to say I can cook. If the food's good, people eat it. If the food's good, they'll eat it. You don't need a piece of paper to say that you're amazing at cooking. It's the same with business. Like when people say to me, like, did you study business? I said, no, I came from a very analytic background, but the reality is business is people. You're serving. So you just have to find what you're really good at and then serve the world.
How do you stay positive? Yeah, you are very calm. You are very positive. How do you have this energy?
It just comes to acceptance that you're going to die. It's crazy, I know, but that's like the motivation. Like I could drive today and crash the car. It is what it is. But I have to look at it in terms of the time I have. I don't want to waste my time. That's why I'm someone that I can't sit at home and do nothing. I can't just sit down and watch a box set, as people say. It's just not me, because I appreciate time. I've buried many loved ones, many friends I've seen go. And then you start to look at life. Because I believe that everything I do every single day is a test. I believe I'm being tested. And the test is to make me better. So it's all experience. I take the experiences and I use it for the benefit. So example being, I will look at my life and think to myself, if I'm tired in the morning, I need to find a way to make myself more energetic. So I will look for those purposes of what I can do. And if I'm feeling a bit low, like we all have low days, this is human nature, isn't it? Then I'll find a way to make myself happy, where it means going to buy a coffee, going for a walk, going to the gym, exercising, etc. Seeing friends, communicating. I'll find ways, listen to some music. There's always ways, but I think you have to force that in yourself, because if we allow the slump to happen, the slump will happen. But it's just having that energy to get up and go for it and appreciate, because gratitude is the most important thing. Once you have gratitude, you're 10 feet tall. You're ready to go.
Do you journal? Do you write journals?
No, I don't even read books. People say like, do you not read? Do you not do? No, I learn from people. Spending time with people every single day is more than anything. It's a life lesson that you can't buy. A book can't teach you it. And that's why I go to my clients all around the country. I sit with them, I have a cup of tea, we talk about life, we talk about business, we talk about everything. Then I understand business more than anyone. So people say like, how are you so good at business? Because I'm there. I'm not sitting in the office delegating. I'm physically going and talking to the clients
Learning
and sitting
about
with
their
them.
business.
Yeah, and just sitting there in their environment and understanding how the customer's thinking, how the customer's feeling. And you start to see what you can do to benefit that client or that industry. And you take that experience and you pass it on.
That's really remarkable. Absolutely, it's remarkable. Not many people do this.
And I remember I did a talk 2 years ago, I think, in Chelsea. And there was an older businessman and he was like the complete opposite. And then I said what I did. And they said, why'd you go to clients? And I said, because I care about them. And I love seeing the environment they're in and why they did it and how they came to that thought process. And then with that, it builds my experience up more than anything, because then I'm able to learn continuously about how society and business is changing every single day in different environments around the country. and then I can then pass on that knowledge, because that's life. You have to teach. What's the point you keep it all and you're not benefiting anyone? Because ultimately we have this mindset where we feel like people are going to copy us. But if Messi taught me how to play football or Ronaldo, I'll never be able to play like them.
Yeah.
Never. But it's the same with me. I always believe like if I can pass on all my knowledge, they're not going to be able to do it like me, nor am I able to do it like them. We all have different skill sets.
It's all about learning from each other.
100%. And that's why I feel like but it's also about teaching one another. You can learn, but you also have to teach.
I think when you teach another person, you are also teaching yourself.
Yeah.
You're revising yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also some people, which I've learned in recent time, is they don't want to be taught. You have to have the ability of want to learn,
Okay.
because some people think they know it all.
Yeah, some people are.
And
like
unfortunately, what you knew 5 years ago is completely different. It's like example with business. If you look at someone who was successful 20 years ago, for them to start today is completely different. The goalposts have moved. It's like, we'll use the housing market as an example now. People say, oh, well, I can't buy a house like my mum and dad. They had the same struggles.
Yeah.
But this is a different lane. It's a different track.
Different rules, different everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's exactly the same format, but it's just got a bit harder. And then in 10, 20 years, for the next generation, the goalposts will move again.
Yeah.
And they'll have to figure it out. But you can't rest on things being the same. You have to continue innovating. If you think it's going to stay the same, unfortunately, you'll just stay with the past.
Yeah.
But if you want to move forward, you have to continue learning.
Absolutely, I agree with you. Yeah. So 5 years from now, do you want to be remembered more as a successful entrepreneur or a humanitarian leader?
I don't even look to next year. So people find that amazing because I haven't got a 5-year plan.
Okay.
One day at a time. Today I'll do this. I'll go home and do some work. Tonight I'm playing football. Done.
You live in the present.
Yeah. Because again, life changes very quick.
Yeah.
So example is you could have a 5-year plan, but then you lose a parent. You lose
the loved one.
Anything. Your life could change. You could lose your arms. Then all of a sudden that plan's just gone out the window.
Yeah.
So you have to do what you feel today, because the ideas and the fire that you have today. You might not have next week. And you see it so many times where people just sit down and they have these ideas of this great business, but they don't start because the fire wasn't utilized. They allowed the fire to cool down. So what you feel today, you have to just go for it. You start to put the things in place. So example being is if someone has fire today that they want to start something, they'll have to start taking the steps today. Because if they start to just relax and think and try and get it perfect, what's going to happen? Next week, something else happens. There could be a diversion at work that makes them work late. There could be an illness. And then all of a sudden the plans have gone and they've just boxed it away. But for me, like going back to myself, is there'll never be a long-term plan. It's just taking it day by day, going through the challenges every day, because life is 365 days, but it's never going to be perfect. So you have to just go through the experience of life and learn. Every day learn.
Learn, yeah.
And just better yourself.
If someone remember you not for the business you built, but for one simple human act you did, what act would you want that to be?
Just one?
Just one.
It's hard to talk about the positives you do. I think in life, you get the flowers when you die, but you can't smell them. That's the hard thing, isn't it? So for me, I think, as I always say, is I am working towards that. I'm working towards my time coming to an end. And because as deep as it sounds, that's the full stop. That's the end. So there's no beating around the bush. There's two things you're guaranteed. As humans, you're going to lose money, you're going to die. So you have to accept those two things, and then all of a sudden you're like, what stress? Why am I stressing over this? Because we're all lucky. You think about our lives, like my background's Mauritian, and you think that that was a slave island, and you think to yourself, think about how the ancestors went through pain and suffering just because of sugar and tuna. It's remarkable. They would have been beaten, burned, killed just because they were deemed to be slaves. And you look at us today, sitting in nice environments, drinking water, etc., and we're still thinking of, we're stressed. What stress? What stress? Isn't it? Even like sometimes you see people that are stressed and they're making dinner. They're putting in the olive oil, they're putting in the salt and pepper, and you're like, what's this stress? You're making a nice meal, and you're like, oh, I'm so stressed. What do you mean stress? Stress is going through life, not like going back to my passion for the Palestine issue. Imagine going through a blockade. Being killed with a gun is better than being starved to death. Being starved to death says that humans have let you down. We've all let people down all around the world. If you're in a position where you're being withheld food and water, that's just, my gosh, you'd just be so angry with your circumstances. And we have so much in abundance. Even I was driving today and I saw a buffet and people outside a buffet and they could just go for more and more and more. But then I'm thinking of little babies that are starving to death. And you just think, wow, like, how have we come to this? How have we allowed humans to not have any food or water? And we have so much. Because I always say the birds are fed. If humans aren't fed, it's because of other humans.
This is a really deep thinking, yeah.
All the animals are fed. But we're all guilty of that. 8 billion people supposedly on this world. I know we'd always come with the excuses and say, well, I can't do anything. But we do allow it to happen because we're lost in the world. We're lost in what it is to be human. We've completely forgotten that. We've become so desensitized to things that, how do I say, it does affect leadership and then it filters down because everyone's so desensitized and just focused on tunnel vision of achieving what they feels right. But they're losing track for what humanity is.
Thank you so much. I really loved our conversation. It really made me think about so many issues about, having that empathy, having about leadership, about business as well. It is too much to take today. But yeah, I will eventually take it all. So yeah, moving on. What I take away from this conversation is that leadership isn't about money, titles, or even success. It's about the courage to stand what you believe in and what is the purpose for. If you enjoy this conversation and if you like this conversation, please subscribe me and follow me. And also share this with someone who needs your guidance today. Until then, keep on growing, building, and keep on creating your own niche. Thank you.